will be Newcastle after that, impressive performance to win 2-1 against Liverpool. So that's where we start. Now let's start off with the Carabao Cup final, where Liverpool were hoping to grab the very first available silverware of the season. So it was a Carabao Cup final. Newcastle themselves, they were in the final of the same competition 2 seasons ago when they met Manchester United. Unfortunately, Manchester United weren't so good, but under Ten Hag, they managed to get a 2-0 win over Newcastle United. But Newcastle United, after that Saudi takeover, they've been quite impressive with some remarkable run of form. And they managed again, after beating Arsenal over 2 legs, 4-0 on aggregate, they managed to make it to the final again for the first or for the second time in 3 seasons. And Liverpool were also hoping that, we have, at least one hand on the Premier League trophy, but then let's try and get a Carabao Cup trophy. Then together we can just grab the double. And it could be, quite a very, very impressive first season under Ancelotti, especially looking at the fact that he took over from Georgian club and is already his first season, and they are just doing some wonderful things. But Newcastle, I think on the day, were the better side. If you had watched the game from minute 1 to minute 90, you could see that they barely put a foot wrong. They pressed very high. They were great in possession. They did almost all the basic things right, and they really made Liverpool pay, for it. They really took the game to Liverpool, and for me, I believe they were just the better side, which Eddie Howe, the manager for Newcastle, also attests to. He says they were the better side and they deserve to have won the trophy. And yes, I think on the day, the trophy actually went to the best side. That was Newcastle United. For Eddie Howe, it wasn't just Newcastle winning their first major trophy in 70 years, but then Eddie Howe himself, as a manager, it was his very first major trophy in his professional career as a coach. So you can only imagine that, it was just a day that you could term as historic for Newcastle in the history of the club. Going 7 decades without a trophy, and even the circumstances, under which they had to win this one. They beat Arsenal, the second place team in the Premier League, and then the first place team. So beating just second and first, in succession to win the trophy tells you how good of a side they are. I just feel they're great. But then also Alexander Isak, what a player he is. He scored a second goal after Dan Burn. Also, after earning his first call-up to the England national side for their upcoming World Cup qualifiers, Isak also made sure that, he would put the game to bed, which saw them win that particular one. I've been particularly impressed with Newcastle United since the Saudi takeover and the kind of, investment they've pumped into the club, and it was a well-deserved victory. Mo Salah went missing again, which means that Liverpool could potentially end the season with just a trophy, and that's the Premier League trophy. For me, I think looking at how they started and how impressive they were, it would be, yes, despite winning the Premier League trophy, I'd say it would be a very, very, very bad season for Liverpool, because at some point they were gunning for all 4 trophies. So the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, and then the Premier League. But now they are only left with the Premier League to play for. They are 12 points ahead of us now, as far as the Premier League is concerned. And guess what? They would only have to lose 4, and Arsenal would have to win 4 for them to catch up with Liverpool, which I don't see coming. So for Liverpool, it's just a trophy one. But if you're a Liverpool fan, what are you saying? What do you think about Liverpool's form this season? Do you think winning the Premier League alone is enough for this club? For me, it's a no-no. They could have walked away with 2 trophies, but unfortunately, they are only walking away with 1. Now, let's zoom straight to the Premier League, where there were games played. Arsenal are getting themselves a 1-0 win over Chelsea. Now, Chelsea has been tagged toothless since, the long-term injuries that took out Nicholas Jackson and then also Noni Madueke. Now, Cole Palmer also joined the list of injured players for Team Chelsea. And you could look at the team and you're thinking, how on earth were they, flying at some point this season? Then all of a sudden, it looks like they are one of the most awful teams in the league. For us now, the tag Corner FC, continues, because Mikel Merino scored from sublime corner kick, and that gave them the lead and the potential, winning goal as well. So it saw them pick up 3 points and narrow the gap between themselves and first place Liverpool to 12 points. But for Arsenal, it's the corner kick that keeps on working for them. So mind you that players like Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka are all missing in action due to long-term injury. So they've not really had the full squad. But sometimes if you want to win the league, then yes, you should also factor injuries. And yes, Arsenal haven't been so lucky as far as injuries are concerned. Most of their key players have all been missing due to injury. But for Chelsea, yes, I think the toothless tag makes sense. If you're a Chelsea fan, you'd be looking at this team and you wonder how, they only had 2 shots on target against Arsenal, and both of them came from Marco Correa. So you'll be asking what the attackers are doing in the team, and it tells you how toothless they are. They look blunt up front. It looks like, gradually their confidence is dwindling and they do not look as efficient as you want them to be. But it was a well-deserved victory for Arsenal. For me, I think they could go trophyless yet again because Arsenal have not been great. Yes, they're still in the UEFA Champions League. They're playing against 15-time champions Madrid, but I don't see them doing anything as far as that matchup is concerned. Manchester United got themselves a 3-0 win over Leicester at the King Power. What a game it was for the Red Devils. An exciting game it was for them. Højlund, breaking that goal drought. Garnacho also breaking that goal drought. So Højlund has actually gone, since not scoring, or he's gone 3 months without scoring. So the last time he actually scored was in December. Same as Garnacho, who's not scored for a long time. And both players, it was good for them to have broken, that long goal-scoring drought. But then Bruno Fernandes continues with his impressive run of form for Manchester United. What a guy he's been. He's gotten the stick so many times, criticism from even Manchester United's legends. Most precisely, that has to be with United's former captain, Roy Keane, who always, is on Bruno Fernandes' neck. It's as if, the guy has a personal grudge with Bruno Fernandes. But since that game against Real Sociedad in the UEFA Europa League, to their game against Leicester, he's been their standout performer. For me, I've said it, he needs to be Manchester United's player of the season because, he's putting in so much shift. He's played so well for Manchester United, and there's no way you can convince me that he isn't United's player of the season. So he set up both Højlund and Garnacho to break their goal-scoring drought, and then he himself put the icing on the cake for Manchester United in that 3-0 win over Leicester City. Now let's go to Spain because it's getting more interesting. Now to the Civitas Metropolitano, where it was Barcelona that traveled to face Atletico Madrid. Now I don't know what's happening to Atletico Madrid. We all could agree that perhaps VAR wasn't so fair to them during the UEFA Champions League game against Real Madrid. But I'm not getting the drift. How do you score twice against Barcelona, then with 20 minutes to go, you end up losing 4-2? It doesn't really make any sense. Mind you that these two teams also met, at the home of FC Barcelona, and it was the Copa del Rey semi-final first leg. So in that game, Atletico Madrid actually took a 2-0 lead again. Barcelona ended up scoring 4 unanswered goals to, stretch the lead to 4-2. And then Atletico Madrid, in the last 5 minutes or so, came back again to make it 4-4. So it's been, goals galore between these two sides each and every time they meet, in any competition at all this season. I wasn't surprised we saw quite a number of goals flow in this game. I was hoping Barcelona would lose, so at least Real Madrid will win, Atletico wins, then yes, we have a cagey title race again. But unfortunately, Atletico Madrid, I do not know what's wrong with their defense. This is not typical of Simeone's side. For them to be conceding 4 goals in a game against Barcelona, I've never seen anything like that before. And you look at the quality of goals they conceded. It's quite ironic, that we've not really seen Atletico concede such, I don't know, the goals were just awful to concede. But I think Simeone would have some words with his defenders, especially the defensive unit and then also the goalkeeper. So Barcelona were able to rally from 2 down to win by 4 goals to 2. Lamine Yamal with a perfectly weighted finish to give them a 3-2 lead, and then also Ferran Torres ensuring that the Blaugranas would actually walk away with all 3 points in that one. So they still occupy top spot in the La Liga, but then also they have a game in hand against Osasuna, which should be a must-win for them. And at this point, you look at how they're playing, still in the Champions League, then Barcelona could be a force to reckon. But before Barcelona's game, on Saturday night, it was Real Madrid traveling to the Estadio de la Ceramica to take on Villarreal. Villarreal scoring first, then Kylian Mbappe. Everyone was thinking this guy didn't actually start his Real Madrid career very well. So it wasn't so good for him. It was topsy-turvy. He was struggling at some point. Everyone felt, he had wanted to drift to the left-hand side, and that's the same position that Vini Jr. operates. So, it was quite a lot of theories surrounding his poor, form early into the season. But the guy has managed to, turn things around for himself. It's been quite fascinating to see how he's now banging the goal. So now Kylian Mbappe got an equalizer for Real Madrid in that game against Villarreal to make it 1-1. That was his 30th goal. Imagine someone starting sluggishly and still scoring 30 goals in March. He could go on to score like 15 more. Yeah, I think so. So he scored to make it 30 goals for himself, 1-1 for Madrid. Then he scored again to make it 2-1, and then his 31st goal. I think, the criticism was too much. Yes, there was quite a lot of pressure on him, to actually, do something. But for Kylian Mbappe, I think he's having an awesome season, and he's now the front runner to win the Ballon d'Or after Liverpool's exit from the UEFA Champions League. And looking at the fact that Liverpool could end up with just the Premier League title, Salah, you couldn't mention Salah, but I think that Kylian Mbappe should be the front runner, especially if Real Madrid should win the league and then also the UEFA Champions League. Now to Italy, there was a top of the table clash between first and third. Atalanta hosting Inter Milan. Inter still proving too strong. So Atalanta, they had their chances, they fluffed them. Inter made them pay for it. And Carlos Augusto getting Inter Milan the first goal, and then Lautaro Martinez, the captain for Inter Milan, also doubling the lead for them, which sees them cruise to a 2-0 victory, and then they managed to still occupy top spot in the Scudetto race. Napoli failed to win their game, away from home, which is quite shocking considering the fact that they played against Venezia. And for Conte's side, I don't know what has accounted for their sudden dip in form, but I think they need to be doing better. So that's where we call it a wrap. But don't forget, which team is your team of the week? For me, I'd go for Newcastle, beating Liverpool at the Wembley and then breaking their 70-year-long wait for a major trophy. For me, I'd always go for Newcastle. So don't forget to also, make your voice heard in the comment section, and then also you can let us know which team is your team of the week.